Hey guys, and welcome to the second lesson in the Jazz Piano for Beginners series. Today I'd like to talk to you about chords, which form the harmonic basis for jazz. Now, a chord is any three or more notes played simultaneously. So, this is a chord, this is a chord, this is, well, basically a chord even though I rolled the notes. And even something weird like this is a chord, although it's not a very pleasant sounding one. Chords can be small and clustered, or open and big. There are many different types of chords. You can have major chords, minor, diminished, dominant, and many other types. You'll often encounter them when seeing or working with sheet music, where you'll have a melody and then some chord symbols scribbled on top. For example, something like this. Now, what I want to do is to teach you how to construct the different types of chords based on the scribbles, the notations on top of sheet music. The general anatomy of a chord, or a chord symbol, is that it has a letter, which is called the root, and is the note on which the chord is built, like A, or B, or G flat, followed by the chord type, like an M7, or just a 7, or a match 7. Now, there are 8 different types of chords. Major, and we're going to focus on jazz-related chords. So all of these are going to be, or almost all of them will be what's called 7th chords, for reasons that will become apparent in the next lesson. For now, these will just be names, but there are major 7th chords, minor 7th, dominant 7th, diminished 7th, half diminished, minor major 7th, and augmented major 7th, and finally diminished major 7th. I've put together on the screen the list of the different chord types, followed by the unique notation for each chord type. Some chord types have more than one notation. Now, next to each notation, I've written down what I call the formula for the chord, which is really a prescription for how to construct this particular chord type. And what we're going to do now is explain exactly how to use this unique formula. So we're going to take a specific example, and let's look at major chords. So the formula for major chords are, as I've put it on the screen, is R434. Now, what does this mean? Well, R refers to the root. So let's say you're building an A major 7th chord. You're going to start with the root of the chord, which is the A. Now you're going to count up 4 semitones. A semitone is simply the smallest distance between adjacent notes on the piano. So you're basically counting up 4 keys, including the black keys. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you count up 3 semitones. 1, 2, 3. And then finally 4 semitones. 1, 2, 3, 4. And here you have an A major 7th chord. Let's take another example, and let's construct a D diminished 7th chord. Now the formula for this is R333. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the root for this, which is a D, and then count up 1, 2, 3 semitones, again 1, 2, 3 semitones, and again 1, 2, 3. So these 4 notes constitute the D diminished 7th chord. Now you can go ahead and apply this to pretty much any chord you'd like to construct of any type on any root. What I'd like to do now is to show you how to apply this in the context of a jazz piano ballad. Now, we're going to take the sheet music for the jazz ballad I played in the previous lesson, and we're going to go step by step and construct the chords that appear in this sheet music. Now, just to jog your memory, I'm talking about the ballad that goes like this. Now the sheet music I put on screen is for a simplified version of it. We're going to play the chords in the left hand and then a simple melody in the right hand. Now, I'm going to first of all play this for you as the symbols on the sheet music would have it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the different chords and kind of show you how I've constructed them based on the formulas. So here's what it's going to sound like if you construct all of the chords and play the melody in the right hand using the formulas I gave you. Now it sounds a lot simpler than the full form of the ballad because we're still missing theoretical concepts and ideas that will come in later lessons, but it's a good start. Now, let me walk you through the chords I played in the left hand. We'll do a few and then I'll leave the rest as an exercise for you. So the first chord in the sheet music is a C major 7. Going to the table, to the formula list, we see that major 7th chords are constructed with the formula R434. So the root is C, and now I count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. And here is my C major 7th chord. The next chord is a D minor 7. So the root is a D, and the formula for a minor 7th chord is R343. So root R, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And here is my D minor 7th chord. The next chord is a G dominant 7th chord. The root is G, and the formula for a dominant 7th chord is R433. So root, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Let's do one more, and then I'll leave the rest as an exercise for you. Of course, you already have the answer, you just need to rewind the video and pause it when I play the piece. The fourth chord is an E half diminished, which is notated as EM7 flat 5. Again, the reason for some of these notations will become apparent when we start talking about scales in the next lesson. So the formula for this is R334. Root 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. And here is my E half diminished, or E minor 7 flat 5. I'd like to conclude this lesson by leaving you with some practice ideas for how to assimilate this knowledge. So a little bit of math shows you that you have 12 possible notes, right? C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, F. 12 notes, so 12 root possibilities, and 8 chord types. So that's a total of 96 different chords. Now you can, and it's not a bad idea, you can practice them chromatically. And you can do this in both hands. So what does this mean? Let's say you decide to practice a major 7th chord. You start with a C major 7, and then you play a D flat major 7, D major 7, E flat major 7, E major 7, and so on and so on. Again, you can do this in both hands. Now, this is good practice, and the problem is that it's extremely boring. A much better way of going about learning these different chord types, in my opinion, is to take a melody or a song you like, and usually you'll take it from a real book or a fake book, one of these so-called jazz standard books, or maybe just any song you prefer, and play it and just construct the chords. And then what you can do is you can take the same song, same progression, and transpose it to other keys. For example, I can take the ballad that I just played and I can move each chord and each note in the melody up to semitones. So a C major 7 becomes a D major 7. A D minor 7 becomes an E minor 7. A G dominant 7 becomes an A dominant 7, and so on and so on. And then just play this. Transposing songs and chord progressions is a great way to practice pretty much anything in jazz. And you can take this simple ballad I just played and transpose it to all 12 keys. It has a lot of different chord types. Major 7, minor 7, dominant 7, half diminished, minor major, diminished major 7th, and transposing it will ensure you master these chords in all possible combinations. So that is really my best advice for you on how to approach practicing stuff in jazz and specifically chords. That's it for today's lesson. I hope you've learned something interesting. In the next lesson, lesson number 3, we're going to discuss scales, and these are essential for soloing and will also give us deeper insight into chords and how to construct them. So I hope to see you next time, and that's it.